The documentary that I watched was The American Factory on Netflix. A few key takeaways that stood out to me included that thanks to the Fuao, a Chinese company coming in and reopening a glass manufacturing operation in Dayton, Ohio, many workers that were previously laid off at GM were able to get jobs again. It still wasn't a great job to have since it paid way less at Fuao than they did at GM. One lady said she was only getting $29 at GM and now she's making $12 at Fuao. There was also a huge cultural difference between the Americans and Chinese. Just at the beginning of the documentary, there was a lot of back and forth between the Chinese chairman and the American personnel at the factory on how things should be and the regulations of running a factory in America. The Chinese chairman, I think, was confused on certain regulations and the operation in a corporate setting here in America. I would have to say the biggest social problem with Fuao coming to America and giving jobs to Americans who are seeking better opportunities is the quality of work that they're expected to do and the conditions they are working in. Some of the Chinese are really concerned with production numbers and getting as much product out as possible, and others are concerned about the quality of the work. And then the Americans are stuck right in the middle of it all. Talking about the conditions the workers are in is heat and repetitiveness. American employees are exhausted from changing temperatures from 70 to 200 degrees and is not healthy as they are doing the same task for 8 to 10 hours a day. This all comes down to money, I think. The Chinese chairman and his colleagues are always talking about spending the least amount of money, even if it doesn't mean a better working environment for the factory workers. If the chairman is not making the most profit he can, he's not happy. I get you don't want to waste money and you want your factory to run at a top-tier level, but I think that you would have better efficiency in production numbers if you gave the workers a better quality of working conditions. The Chinese chairman seems that the factory's purpose is to benefit the Chinese and their country only, even though the factory is in America and they employ American workers. Some connections between the primary social problem of being efficient and getting out of the most production you can is to be able to make as much profit as possible really have an effect on the safety and the conditions in which the workers are in. American standards are in place to keep workers as safe as possible, and in China, safety is not the first priority on the list. Out of the social institutions that we learned about in Chapter 1, family is impacted the most. The workers are expected to work long hours with very little days off and are not getting paid very fairly for the work they're putting in, and don't get time to spend it with their family and struggle to provide for their family. There are Chinese workers that were brought to America to work in the factory and teach Americans about how to do the work that they are not able to go see their families for at least 2 years while they are here. Some of the workers are trying to get the union to come in to help improve the conditions that they work in. So politics is a social institution that is also having an influence to help change the social problems that are taking place in the Fuao factory. Solutions that were put in place were not entirely good for the economy and the American people working at the factory. The solution was to make it automated. The company is slowly laying workers off, and workers are being replaced with robots. Robots don't get tired, they don't complain, and the work they do is very efficient, and they are able to keep the production to the standards of the Fuao chairman and his colleagues. The outcomes of this that the people are working there are back to where they were started when they got laid off after GM shut their factory down. The American dream just keeps getting smaller and smaller for the workers, and when they once were living exceptional lives. Some laws that deal with the employee safety in the workplace are the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970, which established OSHA to ensure safe and healthy working conditions. There is a law called the National Labor Relations Act, which helps protect employees' rights to organize, join unions, bargain for better wages, hours, and working conditions, as well as laws that deal with family and medical leave, known as the Family and Medical Leave Act, which allows eligible employees to take unpaid, job-protected leave for their family and medical reasons, such as childbirth, adoption, or even care for a family member who is dealing with illness. So here is my question to you. What are the American people going to do to keep the American dream alive when automation and technology is slowly taking over jobs, not just here in the United States, but other modernized countries?